You did the work. You sat with the question, who am I? When I strip away the titles, the roles, the shoulds. You named the parts of your identity that were built for survival instead of built by choice. Maybe you even said it out loud for the first time. I don't actually know who I am outside of what I do for everyone else. That was the hard part. Naming it always is. But here's what nobody tells you after an identity shift. Knowing who you are and building a life around who you are, those are two completely different projects. So if you watched the last video and you felt something crack open and then nothing changed, you're not broken. You're just standing at the doorway of the next chapter. And today I'm going to show you how to walk through it. I'm Dr. Tora Brown, and this is Best Life. And today we are going to dive into identity and your next chapter. Are you ready? So first we're going to start with why insight alone doesn't change your life. So here's the trap that high achieving women fall into. And I have to be honest, I fell into it too. We treat self-awareness like it's the finish line. We do the journaling, we have the breakthrough, we cry in the car, and then we go right back to the calendar, the inbox, the 6 a.m. wake-up call, the version of ourselves that everyone already expects to show up. So basically, we've done work, but we don't often make the change. Insight without infrastructure just becomes a very expensive feeling. I worked with a client. She was a VP at a healthcare organization, and she had her identity breakthrough 18 months before she ever called me. 18 months of knowing she wanted to lead differently, build differently, live differently. 18 months of nothing moving, because insight was never the missing piece. The structure was the missing piece. Your next chapter doesn't get written by another realization. It gets written by decisions, the kind that show up on your actual Tuesday. So let's talk about the 3 signs that show you that you are ready to build. And when I say ready to build that life that you know you want. So before we get to the how, let's make sure you're actually standing where I think you're standing. You're ready for this next chapter if 1, the old identity feels like a costume, not a home. You can still perform it. You're just tired of performing it. Let me say that again. The old identity feels like a costume, not a home. You can still perform it. You're just tired of performing it. 2, you've stopped asking, who am I? And you've started asking, who do I want to become? Or who do I want to be? That shift from archaeology to architecture is everything. So it's not, who am I? The question you're now asking is, who do I want to become? And then number 3, you're noticing the gap between your calendar and your values in real time, not just intellectually. You feel it in your body when a meeting contradicts with that person that you really want to be. So if that's you, then that's good. You are not lost. You're just in between drafts. And every writer knows the second draft is where the real book gets built. So let's talk about building your next chapter. And how do we do that? I like to do that through the best framework. Okay. And this is where we move from insight to infrastructure. And I'm going to walk you through your next chapter using the 4 pillars of the best framework. And those 4 pillars are B, body, E, expectations, S, schedule, and T is truth. Because identity that doesn't touch all 4 is identity that stays theoretical. So let's start with the B, body. And body is really your energy and your vitality, not just, your body, what it looks like, but it's your energy and vitality. And your new identity needs a body that can carry it. So ask yourself, does my energy right now support the woman I said I want to become? Or is she going to inherit my exhaustion? This isn't about a wellness routine. It's about recognizing that burnout writes chapters for you, chapters you didn't choose. Expectation. This one is the quiet killer of reinvention. Everyone around you, your team, your family, your client, built their expectations on the old version of you. Your next chapter requires you to renegotiate those expectations out loud, not just internally. Silence here doesn't protect the people you love. It just keeps you performing in that old role a little longer than you want to. Schedule. Your calendar is the most honest autobiography you will ever write. If your next chapter includes more strategic thinking and less firefighting, your calendar has to say that before your life will. I ask my clients to build what I call an identity audit of the calendar. Go through last week, hour by hour, and ask, did this serve the woman I'm becoming or the woman I'm leaving? Truth. Now, this one is the pillar that really scares people the most. And I think that's because truth means admitting what the old identity was protecting you from. Sometimes the old role, the fixer, the overfunctioner, the one who never needs help, wasn't just a habit, it was armor. Your next chapter asks you to set some of that armor down in front of people who are used to seeing you in it. You don't need to overhaul all 4 pillars this week. So I know you're probably like, oh my goodness. No, you don't need to overhaul all 4 pillars this week. You need to pick the one creating the most friction right now and make one decision inside it before you close your laptop today. So there's one question that is going to move you forward, okay? And if you take nothing else from today, I want you to take this question because it's the one I ask every client standing exactly where you are. So are you ready to write this down? Okay, here's the question. What would the next version of me do in the next 24 hours? Not eventually, not someday, in the next 24 hours. I'm going to repeat it. What would the next version of me do in the next 24 hours? Okay. So this isn't the 5-year plan. This isn't the rebrand. And it's not a big dramatic pivot. It's one decision in the next day that belongs to her instead of the old you. Okay. And if you think about it, that's how chapters actually get written, right? Not in one bold leap, in a series of decisions, small enough to be believable and consistent enough to become identity. So your identity shift gave you the character. Your next chapter is where you give her a life to live. If you're ready to stop knowing and start building, I've got a resource that walks you through exactly this process. The link's below, and you can check it out. And if this landed for you, tell me in the comments, what's one decision your next chapter is asking you to make this week? I'll see you in the next one. I'm Dr. Tora Brown. This is Best Life, and I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much.